Hello and a very, very warm welcome to one of our most awaited and our most demanded session of the Organic Majlis, MENA Export Masterclass and educational initiative of the Organic and Natural Products Expo Dubai. This session is being held in collaboration with our strategic partners, the Halal Trade and Marketing Center. In most cases, natural and organic products are default by halal. Middle East attitude towards halal certified food and drinks are evolving rapidly. According to a Euromonitor survey, the top reasons for adopting a halal diet in the UAE are religious or faith, that's 55%. 42% of them feel that it makes them healthier, and 36% of them consume it from their recommendation from family and friends. Certain categories such as snacks and baked goods have an extremely low penetration rate and can be seen as a significant opportunity for expansion. According to a 2019-2020 State of the Global Islamic Economic Report, it was revealed that Muslims spent around $1.37 trillion around the world in 2018 alone on halal food. With a growth projection of close to 6.3%, that amount is set to rise to 1.97 million by 2024. This just shows how much in demand halal food truly is, especially in the Middle East with a Muslim majority population. In fact, as per Farrelly and Mitchell, F&B consultants, the GCC imports over 50 billion worth of halal products, with UAE importing 20 billion of the share. Through this webinar, we are looking to address the key question of how can natural and organic companies capitalize on the opportunities within the halal ecosystem. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce our panelists for today's webinar. First off, we have Thomas Guerrero, who's the Director for Halal Trade and Marketing Center. Thomas is not just a true friend and a strategic partner with us, but is also a very, very influential and a key personality within the halal ecosystem across the Middle East. Thomas holds a MSc in Economic Development and Growth from the University of Carlos III de Madrid. He also holds a BA in Economics and a BA in Law from the same university and is fluent in Spanish and English. Thomas is passionate about the Islamic economy and emerging markets. He has dedicated himself to the halal industry and sovereign wealth funds. In his current role at the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, Thomas focuses on economic opportunities for manufacturers, suppliers, and distributors of the halal economy products and services. HTMC, Halal Trade and Marketing Center, is hosted by DAFDA, that is the Dubai Airport Free Zone, and it's substantially supported by key partners across the halal ecosystem. HTMC also serves as a one-stop shop for all their market intelligence, halal compliance, and most importantly, marketing and sales support needs. Thomas, once again, you're no stranger to some of our digital initiatives. Thank you so much for joining in. It's a pleasure to have you here. Also, thank you so much for all the support and the collaboration to help put together this webinar. It would definitely not have been possible if it wasn't for this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here today with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. Next up, we have Ismail Sarhan, who is the Group Sales Manager and Business Development at Mezan Foods UAE. He has very recently moved to this role. Congratulations on that, Ismail. Wishing you the very best. Ismail is a professional sales and business development executive with over 15 years of experience in the retail and FMCG sectors focused on enhancing operational efficiency and increasing profits. Ismail has very recently joined Al Mezan UAE and works with several local and international multinational brands such as Red Bull, Capri Sun, Aquapana, Milka, and many more other domestic brands as well. He's also a member of the Canadian Business Council here in the UAE. Ismail, thank you so much for joining us. It's always very nice to have you here. Very nice to have someone from the retail and the distributors side of things. And I'm looking forward to what you have to share this morning with us. And I'm sure the audience is very excited and is, sort of looking forward to hearing from you as well.
Thank you, Saj, for the kind words and the wishes. Thank you very much. Thanks for organizing this webinar. And it's always a pleasure to be part of such an amazing webinar and share my insights as well. Thank you very much.
It's very sweet of you, Ismail. Thank you. Last but not the least, we have Paul Franchi, the chef and founder at Happy Restaurants. It's always very, very interesting to have someone from the HoReCa industry on some of our webinars. It is the HoReCa industry in this part of the world is very vibrant and contributes to a major part of the local economy. So it's very important, and I think it's very key to have a Paul on this particular session. I'm sure what he's going to share is going to be very, very interesting and very insightful. Paul is driven by his creative influences and left the corporate world early on to pursue his career in television, combining his passion for food and travel. Happy is a lifestyle consultancy specializing in health and well-being. Paul and his team of experts include chefs, nutritionists, holistic therapists, functional medicine practitioners, as well as performance, rehabilitation, and movement coaches. Paul, under Happy, runs one-of-a-kind e-commerce portal that supplies beef bone broth, chicken broth, and lamb broth, both using grass-fed bones and organic chicken bones from environmentally responsible farms. Paul, once again, thank you just so much for joining us. I know it's been a very busy week, as is always for the HoReCa industry here in Dubai. I know 2023 has been busy for you, but thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us this morning.
Suraj, thank you very much for the kind introduction. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with this distinguished panelists this morning, and I look forward to discussing these interesting topics with the audience and yourself.
Likewise, Paul, thank you so much. Before I allow the stage to be open to Thomas and for him to share his presentation, I'd like to highlight to the audience some of the key session takeaways that we're going to have from this. And yeah, I'm just going to share my screen. Please bear with me. All right, the key title of this webinar, or key focus is how can we capture business opportunities for organic and natural companies in the halal ecosystem? First off, we'll have Thomas starting off with halal and organic and natural. How are they closely related? Then we have Ismail with exploring the demand and evaluating competition for a few organic and natural products across the halal markets in the Middle East. We also have a very interesting beauty and cosmetics session by an exhibitor or a company based in Germany who's introducing halal-based cosmetics here in the Middle East. Lastly, we have the opportunities for organic and natural companies within the halal ecosystem from a HoReCa perspective, which will be covered by Paul. With this, I'm going to leave the dais open to Thomas, and I wish us all a very, very successful webinar.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Suraj, for your coordinating efforts, for your support. More than happy to be here today with all of you in order to, as you said, highlight some of the business opportunities coming from the halal market, as well as from the organic and natural one. As you said, there are many intersections. Those markets are closely related. So today we will go through a presentation in order to understand this. For that reason, I'm sharing my screen. Our presentation today, as you can see here, is called halal, organic and natural, or are they closely related? So let's start defining, as usual, what halal means. Okay, so halal, as you can see here, is an Arabic term meaning lawful as per the Islamic law. So basically, the halal economy is composed of sectors whose core products and services are affected by the Islamic law, such as food, that must be halal, finance, that must be Sharia compliance, or fashion, that must be modest. So this is a key concept in order to understand today's session. But what happened, as Suraj said, halal today is not only a religious concept. It's not only longer for Muslim. So halal is also healthy, is also good for the human beings. So through that link, you can connect the halal space with the organic and natural one. So there is another concept in order to understand this connection. There is another Arabic term, is tayyib. Tayyib means those things that are good for the human beings, those things that are, good for the health of the people. So when you read the Holy Quran, you find the halal concept always close to the tayyib one, meaning that halal is also tayyib. So those things that are halal are also tayyib, so they are good for the human beings, not only for Muslims. So this connection is creating a massive opportunity. Why? Because, for example, in Europe, we have been conducting some market studies in Europe in order to see who are the consumers behind the success of the halal market in this continent. And we found something very interesting. Now, an important percentage of the people demanding and consuming halal goods in Europe are non-Muslim people. So people from the healthy segment, from the bio segment, from all those segments. So what happened? Basically, they think, okay, all these things that are, let's say, marketed as haram, so those illicit things or products for Muslims, are bad for our health, such as alcohol or pork meat. So there is a link between the haram items or products and those products that are not healthy. So for that reason, you can see now in US or in Europe, in some countries, UK, France, non-Muslim people looking for halal products, demanding and consuming halal products. So the reason behind this, let's say, new trend, imagine expanding the opportunities, because here today we will be talking about the Muslim majority countries, about the 1.8 billion Muslim people. But now we can see, thanks to this connection, that halal is becoming something relevant for also non-Muslim consumers. So imagine, it's even bigger from the business opportunities. So once we have this idea, it's also relevant to highlight that the halal market is a regulated one. As you can see here, today we have in place a halal legal framework. So the market is huge, but we have a small issue. We don't have a global halal standard. We have different rules for regulating the same market. So there is a fragmentation from the regulation point of view. So here you can see an overview of the legal framework for this fast-growing business niche. So basically, we have three types of organizations regulating this huge market. In the Muslim majority countries, we have the standardization bodies, the halal standardization bodies. They are the ones coming with the standards, with the requirements. They are the ones regulating this market in their home countries. Then also in the Muslim majority countries, we have the accreditation bodies, the halal ones. They are the ones auditing the certifiers in order to check if the halal certification bodies across the world have or not the technical and religious capabilities for auditing and certifying companies according to the existing halal standards. And finally, we have the certifier. They are private companies, and they are the ones auditing and providing companies with the certification. Okay, so this is the legal framework. But as I said, it's becoming a bit complex. Why? Because we don't have a global halal standard for the entire Muslim world. Many Muslim majority countries came with their own halal standard. So sometimes there are a small difference between the standards. So for the producers, it's not easy, especially for those located in the non-Muslim countries, where the largest producers, by the way, are based. For them, it's not something easy, but the opportunity, as we will see today, is massive, it's huge. So we saw also an overview about the legal framework for the halal market, and now it's also good to go through the drivers behind the success of the halal market, why this market is becoming so relevant. So basically, when we look at the halal market, we find three drivers, three factors explaining the success of this market, explaining the growth of this business niche. First of all, as I said, we have a demographic dividend. We have 1.8 billion Muslim people. We're talking about the 25% of the total population. And according to the latest estimation, this segment, this Muslim population will be reaching 2.2 billion in 2030. So we have, as you can see here, a large, young, and fast-growing population. Then we have a second factor. When we look at the halal market, you find 57 Muslim markets. And many of them, they are emerging markets. They are the ones leading the economic growth in the world. So there are many opportunities for the producers thinking about exporting their products or providing their services in the Muslim majority countries. For that, they need a halal certification in many cases. But we are talking, as you can see here, about emerging economies. Many of them, they are growing so fast. So Muslim majority countries are leading the economic growth across the world. Now we can see this here in the GCC. The entire region is booming. So the opportunities from the halal perspective are also massive. And finally, we have a third factor or driver. This one is, let's say, the result of this second one. What happened? The economic growth of the Muslim majority countries is empowering the Muslim consumers. So now we can see in many Muslim majority countries the emerging of the middle classes. So it's not only about the GCC and the wealthy people. If you look at the Southeast Asia or North Africa or Central Asia, if you look at other regions across the world, you will find something similar. The Muslim consumers are, becoming, they are getting a higher purchasing power. So this is the third factor explaining the growth of the halal market. Well, once we saw the three drivers, now it's also good to come with an overview for the entire. Today we will be talking about F&B products, but halal or the organic and natural approach is not only for food, as you know. So here you have an overview with the halal related sector. Okay, so here you can see the 2021 numbers for all the halal related sectors. Obviously, as you can see here, the F&B the halal F&B sector is one of the largest and one of the key ones in terms of business opportunities. In 2021, we were talking about a $1.2 trillion market worldwide. But as I said, it's not everything under the halal umbrella is related to F&B. You can find also opportunities in the cosmetics space or in the pharma or Muslim-friendly tourism. So there are more opportunities. But as I said, today we will be discussing or introducing the F&B opportunity from the halal and the organic and natural perspectives. The next slide is, as you can see here, the same one, but here we can see the forecast for 2025. And as you can see, all the halal related sectors will be growing a lot. In the case, for example, of the F&B niche, we will be going from 1.2 to 1.6 trillion dollars. But if you check the other halal related sectors, you will find the same, let's say, case. So all of them we will be growing a lot. Why? Because they have behind the macro driver that we already saw. They are the ones explaining this growth. And now, okay, let's go through the halal F&B sector. Here, we have also an overview for this specific halal-related sector. As you can see here, in 2021, as we already said, the Muslim population spent $1.2 trillion on F&B products. Okay, and if we compare that expenditure made by the Muslim population on F&B products across the world with the expenditure made by the nationals of countries such as China, US, Japan, India, or Russia, for example, we will be discovering that we are talking about the second largest F&B market in the world. And many people, especially in the non-Muslim world, they don't know this. From the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, we are trying to disseminate this information in order to help companies all over the world to capitalize on this e-opportunity. Now we have a ranking where we can see the leaders in terms of consumption of halal F&B products. The data from 2020, here you can see the countries, the expenditure made by the national of these Muslim majority countries. As you can see, the ranking is the leading country in this ranking is Indonesia. Then we have Bangladesh, Egypt. Obviously, there is a clear relationship between the population size of the countries and the consumption of F&B products. But I would like to use this ranking or a slide for highlighting something interesting. Of course, the Muslim majority countries, especially the GCC ones, where we are importing around almost everything, around the 90% of the F&B product that we are consuming, they are offering great opportunities. But here, if you check deeply, you will find in this ranking some non-Muslim majority countries, such as US, China, Germany. Those countries have a significant and growing Muslim population. But of course, they are also demanding and consuming halal products, F&B ones. So there are opportunities also in non-Muslim majority countries where you can find, Muslim population, some, Muslim people, as I said, consuming also halal products. So there are opportunities in the Muslim space as well as in the non-Muslim one. Well, we already saw enough arguments to believe in the power of the halal market, but there is something very interesting making this business needs even better. What happened? I already said this, but it's good to go through this factor. Many Muslim majority countries are net importers in terms of F&B products. Here in the GCC, we are importing almost the 90% of the food that we are consuming. So there is a huge dependency. And of course, if you want to export your F&B items or products to the GCC countries, for example, you need the halal certification, because basically here in the GCC, we have always, let's say, two standards, 993 for meat and poultry and 255 for processed food. Sometimes for organic and natural, you don't need the halal certification because, as Suraj said, many organic and natural products are halal by default. We are talking about veggie, we are talking about fruits, we are talking, but in order to avoid cross-contamination, you have the 255 making the halal certification also mandatory for processed food. So if you are processing, manipulating, the halal certification is also mandatory. So this factor is making this the opportunity even better. Well, we are finalizing the presentation, but before closing this speech, it's good to see an example of the dependency on the F&B space here in the GCC. Here you have the GCC as well as the UAE meat market. First of all, you have a ranking with the GCC main meat importers. As you can see, we are importing every single year, as I said, almost everything. The 90% of the beef and lamb meat is coming from abroad. So the GCC countries are using a lot of money for bringing those products, okay? But it's interesting to see who, check who are the main meat exporters, for example, to the UAE or to other GCC countries, because they are not Muslim majority countries. So you can find Brazil, Australia, India, USA. So as I said, there are many opportunities for the companies in the non-Muslim space if they want, to grow. Why? Because through the halal certification, they will be finding business opportunity for sure. Because when you are importing almost everything, you can navigate that and find, some specific, areas or some specific channels of distribution spaces where you will find for sure the opportunity for the product. So that's all from my side. It has been a pleasure to be here today with all of you. Now let's continue with this amazing session. I will give back the floor to Surak, and let's talk later during the Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Thomas, that was wonderful and extremely elaborate. Thank you so much for taking the time out to preparing such an elaborate and intensive presentation. I appreciate it. Ismail, I'd like to come to you next. We have heard Thomas, taking us through in detail what opportunities lie for organic and natural companies. But from an FMCG and a distributor perspective, I'd like to understand from you, what demand are you seeing for organic and natural products across the halal markets?
Thank you, Siraj. Thank you, Thomas, for the great presentation. So when we look at the organic section, and we go back a little bit in history, we see that the organic starts seeing in the market here across the retailer 10 years back. We're talking about starting 2020 to, 2010, 2012. Where the retailer, they start having a separate section for the organic food. However, this organic section still small and growing year over year. What we see actually growing there, snacking, confectionery, dairy, and dairy alternatives, and meat. This is in the organic section. The challenge that we see here in the market when it comes to halal, that there's a lot of brands that do want to enter the GCC market and they want to add more variety and more excitement to the category, but they are not halal certified. So then a lot of product remains outside the region. The company, in order to, the manufacturer, in order to comply with halal certificate, I'm sure Thomas, he knows more about that. They need to go into a process and into production inspection. So sometimes not feasible for them to have halal certification and to change their production. Maybe they see the region here or the GCC a small market for them. But despite that, a lot of manufacturers, they see there's a trend, and they see this is a growing category in the coming 10 years, and this is a fast growing across all the product, either it's a food or non-food, and they start converting and they start complying with halal certification, and they're entering the market. We see from, especially we see a spike in organic post-pandemic, during pandemic. The health the health awareness is increased across all the consumer and the shoppers, and they will start using more into organic product. But still, the access to more variety in our region is less compared to US or compared to Europe because of the halal certification. Now, with the Saudi Arabia business booming there and the GCC in general, the manufacturer, they're considering to really to start with the halal certification, and we see this actually across a lot of good brands, multinational brands as well. So one of the actually growing category is available here in the market is the baby food. Baby food and baby product in general, we talk about from food to skincare to any other baby care product. It's a growing category here in the GCC. And however, there is a lot of products still not comply with halal. And this is why you see the category and you see the organic halal still is very in size is very low compared to the food. So I believe that moving forward, they're gonna be a more focus on that. And I believe that a lot of companies and brands, they will consider the GCC as let's say the hanging fruit market, and they will enter very soon. I believe that.
Thank you, Ismail, for that. Ismail, we see that there is, we see there's a lot of demand for plant-based meat and plant-based products from not just in the UAE but across the region. Could you highlight to us, what trends are we looking at for some of these products, and do they also need to be halal certified, or what is that landscape looking like?
Yes, of course. Also, if we look at the plant-based meat and dairy as well, put together, few years back, 2-3 years back, they started here. When we look at the product portfolio or what we have here in the market, we see that we have the plain product. There's no excitement, there's no more flavors, there's nothing that. And the range is very limited, and the choices for consumers very limited. And the main challenge that also the product, even if it's plant-based, should be also halal certified, because you should have the certification that there is no non-halal ingredients being used with the plant-based. So we as a Muslim community, we eat vegetable, but we don't know what the manufacturer, they actually, what ingredients they're using while they're manufacturing the product. So despite that this is plant-based, it should be halal certified as well. So what happened here in the region when they launched the plant-based meat and dairy product, they launched the basics flavor, which is only the meat and dairy. We're talking about cheese and butter. What trend we see now in the market, and it's coming soon, it's already, we start seeing some new players already entered the market, they add the excitement to this category. So if you are vegan and you want to eat plant-based chicken or meat or a dairy, it doesn't mean that you need to eat let's say plain food with no taste. You need some flavors in there. This is why now we see that in the market, they already started in the UAE. The company was started in the UAE. They start having all this shish kebab, shish tabu, all these good flavors, which is actually starting this amazing flavor with the start already in the market. So they're adding variety and adding more options to the plant-based consumer. And I believe that this is also will continue even when we look at the dairy alternative. So when we're talking about yogurts or cheeses and all those stuff, now we start seeing the market with dairy mixed with some herbs, with some more flavors, so that the guys or the consumer, the shoppers, they don't just feel bored eating the same thing every day.
All right. That was very insightful, Ismail. Ismail, I think we have Tom's touched upon how closely related both halal and organic and natural is in terms of the concept. Um, but there is still a requirement for halal certification. If you could elaborate on, the real challenges or the challenges that organic and natural producers might face apart from the certification bit of it, what would that be?
Well, the challenge is starting from the manufacturer. So from the factory, the challenge start there in order to convert their factory, their plant to comply with halal conditions and certification. And this is definitely they're gonna put some limitation on their production, on their other products. So first of all, the manufacturer, they want to consider this is a good opportunity to start halal or not, and if I'm meeting the requirements or not. This is, of course, going to come on the additional cost, especially you can't run halal on the same plant, then you can stop the production and then move to non-halal product. There will be a process to do so. The same when you're doing gluten-free. So there's a cost behind that. You need to shut down the entire plant and do the setup from the beginning in order to produce halal. So the first challenge it comes is the additional cost on the manufacturer. So with that, after even they get the halal certification and they convert their plant to halal, they want to enter the market. The entering the market here in the GCC, the second challenge or the second wall that they face is to enter the market. To enter the market, there's a cost. So the cost is starting from the retailer to do the business. We're talking about from the listing fees, from the rebate, from the visibility and the investment. So unfortunately here, the retailer, they see this is a growing category and people, they want it. So, and people who want to eat organic halal, they're gonna pay more for that. So the retail and GCC, they're using this and they're keeping and they're asking for more fees, more investment, more visibility, more rebate from the distributor. So if the company, they will come here to UAE, they're gonna operate by themselves. They want to appoint a distributor. So here, there's a big pressure on the distributor in order to feasibly make sense for the distributor or not. If not, they're not gonna enter the market. And I've seen a lot of brands, good brand, where they're not seeing the light in the UAE because of the cost of doing business with the retailer. Then the third wall we face in the market is even after working out all the cost and get all the reasonable rebate with the retailer, they always keep a high margin on those products, high front margin. So again, they make it also more difficult for the shoppers and the consumer to go and buy. Yes, this is a growing category, but it can grow more and more, and it can grow faster than that if the retailer, they just maintain the normal margin that they're doing on the normal product in order to recruit more shoppers and give the chance to more people to go and try the plant-based or organic halal. So this is why actually I see the three main obstacles and the challenges when it comes to introducing organic halal in the region here.
Thank you, Ismail, for that. I think despite the challenges that you've highlighted, it definitely still looks like a very interesting and a market full of opportunities. We have a lot of questions coming in from the audience, but I think one that is pertinent and that everyone wants answers to is, Ismail, they want to work with distributors like yourselves who have established a good presence here in the UAE. So for an organic and natural a producer based in Asia or Europe, what is it that they require for them to list themselves as a brand with you and start working with you to start distributing their products, not just in the UAE but across the Middle East?
Well, for any product to have it here, we have certain criteria. First, we look at the product and we see if this is actually a growing category and there is a demand. And we do our analysis. We see if there's any competition in the market. If we see that the range of the product it makes sense, and we see there's a potential, and the brand owner, they're willing to work with us, and they're willing to work with us as a partner and to build the brand together. Not only they appoint a distributor to just ship the goods. If they want to work with us as a partner, building together their brands, and we see that there's a potential on the brands and there's a demand in the market, then we consider the brand.
All right, Ismail. And in terms of product export requirements, product registration, warehousing and distribution, what are your thoughts on that? Do the products need to be registered? If they're, obviously you do need certifications for if they're organic and natural, but what is it exactly that you're looking for from some of these producers?
Oh, so any product need to get the label approval from Dubai Municipality and Economic Department. So any product need to be registered in the UAE and get the approval from the government before actually ship any containers. So this is the step one. Then in order to do so, the Dubai Municipality or the UAE Economic Department, they will not list for you any product label in the market without the halal certification, and there is certain criteria also for lab test. They require all these documents in order to get the registration. So once you meet those criteria, you can register the product in the Economic Department and municipality in the UAE. After that, then it's between the brand owner and the distributor in order to come on the common agreement how they need to work on the value chain to take out the brand, how to develop the brand, to launch the brand in the market. And if they agreed on all the terms and conditions, they can start the business. And this process, it doesn't really take much time if both parties are flexible, and if the brand owner, they have all the certification to register the brand.
All right, Ismail, that was very comprehensive. Thank you for that. I'm sure that has been a pressing question for most of the exporters that have tuned in today, this morning. And I think that answers a lot of questions. We have a question from a Brazilian exporter. I think, Thomas, you would also be the right person for this, who asked that we are one of the largest exporters of halal meat. What's the forecast for the food and grocery industry in the coming years?
Well, it's not only, as I said, about meat. Obviously, animal protein is one of the key, let's say, products in terms of imports from the GCC. But as Ismail said, you need the halal certification also for other types of products. And when you check the numbers, you can see that, of course, you don't have maybe a 90% dependency, but you have 70, 80 for all the categories, for all the items. So depending on the category, you have, a big or smaller percentage. But you saw here in the UAE, as well as in other GCC countries, the governments are coming with strategies, comprehensive ones, in order to avoid this big dependency and promote food security. So leading some initiatives for, let's say, promoting the local production. But honestly, even when we have now some vertical farms or aqua farms, and they are helping us to, let's say, reduce a bit that dependency. When you see the numbers, it's not easy, to reduce that dependency in the next few years. This will take a lot of time. So the halal certification is always there as a requirement, also for processed food, for dairy products, for beverage, for many items or categories. So depending on the category, you have a percentage, So we need to check in detail, but it's almost the same because in general we are talking about the 85%, 90% in terms of dependency for F&B items. For example, other products, cosmetics or pharma, the dependency sometimes is not so big, but it's also there. So basically, today we are not able to produce many things. We are coming with strategies, with initiatives, with some, measures in order to promote the local production for many or different categories of products. But since we are importing almost everything, we will have to wait a bit for, this, let's say, self-sufficiency. So during, meanwhile, we need to think about this opportunity and help the producers abroad to comply with halal, with organic, with natural, and make them, able to export.
All right, Thomas. Thank you for your response to that. Ismail, what are your thoughts on this? I know that there are a lot of brands out there that are meat suppliers, both locally and internationally as well. The market is flooded, but then there is a demand considering how UAE and Saudi are one of the highest consumers of meat in terms of per capita. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think is the scope for halal organic meat in the next few years?
Well, there is no doubt because I think one of your audiences is asking questions from Brazil. There is no doubt that the meat and chicken is coming to the region. Mainly is coming from Brazil and New Zealand and Australia. And as I said, that after COVID, there is a lot of consumer and health awareness, and the people, they start shifting from the regular product to the organic. And we believe that with this shift, with this trend, if the companies abroad, they will not convert to halal certificate, they will not be able to play in the GCC region. They will be outside. So who comes first now? Who's gonna actually get the major success in the market, and they're gonna dominate? Like if you look at brands like one of the brands, plant-based, they came here recently, a couple of years back, Beyond Meat. They came to the region. They were the first people who they launched this category in the market, and then the other they follow. Even a multinational brand, they start producing those products. So now, if you look at the region in total GCC, this is a fast-growing region, and the economy is actually stable, and and there's a lot of opportunities. If you don't consider to convert and to get the halal certification, you will not be able to enter the market here.
All right, Ismail. That was, I think that answers pretty much. I think it answers the question to the point. Thank you for that. I think we are almost at the end of the first half of this discussion. It's been a wonderful first half. We've had some very, very insightful points shared by both Ismail and Thomas. Paul, I know we've kept you out of this for quite some time now, but is there anything that you would like to add before we finally break for the first half and we come back again? Paul, I think you're on mute.
A lot of interesting insights, as you said, have been shared. All I can say is that I agree with the viewpoints and the information shared with both Thomas and Ismail, especially around understanding what, in particular, the organic certification or the halal certification means and how the customers perceive it. Also around price point and difficulty entering the market and competition.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Paul, for that. We will be breaking for a quick short break. I would request panelists to stay online, and we will see you on the other half. For the audience as well, I request you all to stay tuned, and we're going to be back with a very interesting second half with Paul, hearing insights from Paul about the Horeca industry. Thank you so much for joining in this morning, and I look forward to seeing you on the other half. All right, and we are back. Thank you so much for staying on with us. We also have a very, very interesting person joining us this morning. We welcome Ms. Zainab, who is the owner and founder of Halal and Beautiful, a leading cosmetic brand based in Germany, which focuses on halal-based cosmetics and is looking to expand into the Middle East with some of their fantastic products. Zainab, I know that we're very keen to have you here. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for taking the time out. In a bit, I will come back to you on your products and some of what you have to say. I think we have something very, very interesting, and the audience is going to love it. But before we get into that, Ismail, I think we had some unfinished points that you'd like to cover. So would you like to go ahead, and post that I will introduce Zainab, and we could take it from there.
Yeah, of course. Actually, one of the products that we see potential in the market, which is the food intolerance product. Here we're talking about the diabetic food, the gluten-free, lactose-free. All this product actually, when it comes to organic and halal, there is a lot of limitation, and people who's actually looking to buy or to consume those products, they're always having a difficulty to access for such a product. So I believe in the region here, this is something that can be a focus in order to take this product forward and to grow the category, and especially food intolerance product. If somebody has here, let's say, they need any lactose-free product or nut-free product, they really struggle to find something organic or something sometimes halal. So, and if they found, they have a limitation of the variety. So I believe this is something that could be a focus point. Now, the other things which I believe Zainab, she will highlight, which is actually the increase in the for the cosmetics. The halal cosmetics is there in the market, and I believe maybe Zainab can correct us. It's 20 billion plus in US market, globally. Sorry, 20 billion globally, 21 billion. Was 2020. So it's a huge market. However, this is the halal cosmetic, but when it comes to organic, it's not that big. So because now we see there is an increase in consumer preference for a chemical-free, natural ingredients and organic-based product when it comes to cosmetics. So no one wants to put any chemical and non-organic product on their face or their skin. Being said that the market, the global market is big, we're talking about 21 billion plus, and there is a lot of gap in organic. So I believe this is also one focus can be in the region as well.
Ismail, thank you so much for highlighting the bit about food intolerance. I think that's a growing issue that and will continue to be a point of concern for people out here, thanks to the lifestyles and some of the food choices that we make. But I hope through organic and natural as a lifestyle, some of that can be addressed, and I'm sure it will be addressed rather. All right, Ms. Zainab, thank you so much for joining in once again. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to introduce Ms. Zainab, who's the owner and co-founder of Halal and Beautiful. Halal and Beautiful Healthy Vegan Cosmetics is a German patented company founded in 2022, still very young. The company specializes in cosmetic products that go beyond the cultural boundaries, which include water-permeable nail polishes, ultra-long-stay liquid-made lipsticks, lip gloss, innovative lip balms, and mascara eyeliner duo. Regardless of religion, Halal and Beautiful Cosmetics guarantees the safety and purity of ingredients used because they are of a high quality, free from animal-derived ingredients and alcohol. The company offers its clients the highest possible standard of safety in terms of cultivation, processing, application, and compatibility on the skin, lips, and eyes. The safety and quality of Halal and Beautiful Cosmetics are at a very high level compared to normal cosmetics available in the market. This contributes to the heightened popularity of halal certified cosmetics worldwide, and the brand is well positioned to take advantage of this growth. Ms. Zainab, once again, thank you so much for joining in from Germany this early morning, I think it is for you.
It's okay.
And I'm eager to hear what you have to say, and I'm sure all of the panelists and some of the audiences tuned in are eager to hear from you.
Thank you very much for introducing me. Well, like Mr. Sarhan said, we have all heard of organic, natural, eco-friendly cosmetics, merchandises, but the latest trend in the beauty industry is halal cosmetic products. So according to recent international reports, it has been predicted that the halal beauty market is projected to reach a value of $54 billion by 2027. So experts say that this rise in demand for such halal cosmetics products is due to the sizable growth in the younger educated consumers who are more aware about the environment, animal welfare, and values like social responsibility. So halal certified cosmetics were initially made particularly for the communities that follow the Islamic laws. I mean, the number of Muslim believers is growing worldwide, which also sparks religiously trends, and this has an effect on cosmetics too, not only on food and beverage. But the truth is that not just this only this one religious community is asking for this category. All communities are opting for these because of their benefits. So even the biggest international beauty brands are coming up with halal cosmetics products. So this is the reason why we launched in 2022, like you said, Suraj, we launched Halal and Beautiful Healthy Vegan Cosmetics and offered 100% halal certified cosmetics products, which are permitted for use by all without compromise or guilt. So in fact, our products are also vegan and cruelty-free certified and listed on PETA's international list. But if you listen to the words of the brand halal and beautiful, you can hear two different words. So this brand highlights the best of two different worlds. The word halal is Arabic and comes from the Oriental world. The word beautiful is Western and comes from the Occidental world. And halal means permissible and is translated as lawful. And so halal and beautiful combines the best of those two worlds. So we have different needs of different women from different cultures, because we all live in a multicultural, heterogeneous society or world everywhere. Here in Germany, in Europe, in the United Arab Emirates, we have different people from different countries. So it's impossible to have all the same needs. So this is why we started with this company, with this brand, Halal and Beautiful. It is a modern brand, like I already said, who has not only one target group. Yes. So first of all, are there any questions before I go on?
We have a lot of questions as of now, but then I think I would let you to go ahead and introduce some of your products to us, and then we'll come back to questions.
Okay. Sure. Well, the main product is, for example, this halal nail polish. What is halal nail polish? Water permeable nail polish. So in the Muslim scene, Muslim women need nail polish, which is water permeable, which is wudu friendly. So this is very, very important and necessary for Muslim women worldwide. But we also have a kind of lipsticks, we have lip gloss, and this is also, like I said, not only interesting for Muslim women, no, it is also interesting for non-Muslim women because they are of high quality, they are free from animal-derived ingredients, free from pig fat, and yeah, that's why they are interesting also for non-Muslim women. Moisturizing lip balm kind of. So it is. We try to reach every woman, not only the Muslim women. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Zainab, for that short, sweet, and quick presentation. That was wonderful. It's great to know what you're trying to do. And I'm sure the Middle East has a lot of opportunities, especially when it comes to cosmetics and the personal care market. I'm sure Thomas will agree with me as I say this. We're seeing, we're seeing one of the highest per capita spends across the UAE and Saudi Arabia in the world. And a lot of that is going to shift towards natural, vegan, and halal as well as we speak. I think there are a lot of, like you mentioned, established brands that are looking at natural and organic and halal, which clearly signifies the consumer's shift of preferences. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Zainab. I think you have a very short video. I'm going to play that for the audiences. And yeah. All right. That was a very nice video that we had. Thank you so much, Zainab, once again for your presentation. I'm going to come to you now, Paul. We've been having a lot of questions pouring in, especially with regards to the Horeca sector and what it's got to do with halal and organic. But before I do that, I think I'm going to hear from you on a couple of talking points that I would wish for you to focus on. And I think it would be wonderful before we dive into the questions. First off, I'd like to hear from you as to what the general perception is within the Horeca sector when it comes to organic and natural, and what do restaurateurs and hoteliers think of it?
I definitely think there is a positive perception towards organic food and drinks in this industry. There's definitely been a shift over the last 10 years from more of that being niche to being slightly more mainstream. It's also pulled other standards or marketing buzzwords along with it. I think hormone-free, free-range, vegan, gluten and lactose-free have all been kind of piggybacking on the emergence of organic food. With consumers, I still believe there's some confusion around the price point of organic meals, organic food and beverages. They are not sure whether these should be priced highly, whether it's approachable in terms of a price point. Also, the kind of the standards not necessarily being as defined, and we touched on that with halal. What does it exactly mean, and how do consumers perceive it? So although it's moved from a niche to more of a mainstream, I think in the future we will see consumers hopefully understanding more about what each means, what organic really stands for, halal and natural. Also understanding that it's from a restaurateur or a food and beverage perspective, that it doesn't necessarily mean that these products are highly priced and that they are approachable. That they, if we touch on a variety of flavors and presentation and kind of creativity, that it doesn't mean that organic has to be basic in any way. With the introduction, obviously, you get restaurants and hotels and catering companies using these products and coming up with dishes using these ingredients. As time evolves, we find more creative ways to give the customer the best value from F&B perspective. So yeah, I think if you compare kind of the retail market to F&B, we've had, I think, slightly different kind of trajectory over the last 3 or 4 years. Our industry in terms of F&B is very highly competitive, and I think that customers, when they go out to dine in restaurants or order food through delivery applications, are slightly more price sensitive. So they are willing to choose or more often choose meals and food and beverages that are fairly priced or competitively priced, rather than willing to pay premium, what mostly is a premium price for organic or natural and healthy products.
All right, Paul, that was wonderful to hear. It's very nice to hear that the perception within the Horeca industry towards organic and natural is quite positive. And just to add, I think there is a massive potential and there's a lot of room for growth that I can see in the coming few years. Which brings me to my next question, and that is, considering how most of what is served in restaurants is by default halal, how easy is it for, say, natural and organic producers to enter the Horeca industry in this part of the world? Or say if someone would like to work with people like yourself, how easy is that and what does that look like?
Well, I think the ease comes from the consumer demand side. If there is demand for it, and if operators see that the customers will be interested in buying their products or menu items that include organic ingredients, I think that the ease is there. Obviously, Ismail touched on certification. that needs to be implemented before these products can enter the UAE market. The competition is there in the sense that we do have products available to us that are organic. However, the price point doesn't always make sense for us to invest in these standards, because the customer seems to choose a slightly more price fair product. I have an example of when I opened my restaurant. I had organic salmon on the menu. After some time, I decided to launch an option where the customer could choose between regular farm salmon or organic at different prices. And 9 out of 10 customers, even though they were coming to my restaurant for what was perceived as more natural and healthier and organic food, would choose the regular farm salmon because of the price point. I had the same margin on both products, so the choice was made by the customer. Eventually, I took off the organic option.
All right, Paul, I see that you run a restaurant, or rather an e-commerce store called Bone Broth under Happy. Could you tell us? I know that almost all of the broths that are both not only halal but also organic and natural. Could you tell us why that combination works for you?
Obviously, as a product, bone broth kind of encapsulates everything around halal, organic, and natural. It's a traditional method of cooking, using all of the animal, using the bones to cook a very nutritious soup. This is a traditional dish that is made almost the same way all around the world. In today's modern society, many developed nations do not consider using all parts of the animal. They use the prime cuts. So this product, not only being a healthy product to consume, also kind of encapsulates everything that has to do with halal, organic, and natural. So in terms of us using those type of ingredients, it's just it's kind of it's the only combination that would work for this product.
Okay, all right. My last question, Paul, is what do you think is the future of halal and organic and natural, and the coming together of both halal and organic and natural? What does this mean for the HoReCa industry?
I mean, in terms of where I think it's going to move towards, I think we will see definitely more variety and choice around halal and organic products as more companies and products would see the opportunity and enter the market. So apart from variety and choice, I think convenience is a huge factor. We have traditional methods where consumers purchase through brick and mortar restaurants and supermarkets and stores. However, with the emergence of online, the convenience of these types of products to customers should increase the consumption. Also, in the future of halal and organic, I see perhaps we look to countries that are slightly further ahead in the trends. These products are not only organic and natural, but they encapsulate the all-round image and lifestyle of consuming these products. So everything from where you buy it, the packaging of the product, and what you do with it, and how you live your lifestyle. So everything around this, the organic and the consumption of products, I see that kind of coming together and being the future here. We will follow obviously trends from the West and other countries that are slightly ahead.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you for that. Thanks for sharing in some very, very valuable insights from the HoReCa industry. I think, as I was mentioning, it's quite vibrant and it's a growing industry. Number of hotels and restaurants here only keep increasing by the day, and it's good to know that in what direction the HoReCa industry is headed, especially when it comes to halal and organic and natural. All right, we have a ton of questions here from the audience. We have a very chatty audience today, which is a good thing. There's also a bad thing because we are in best interest of time. We need to sort of prioritize some of them. Ismail, I think this is for you, and we have a person who asks, how can one manage supply chain costs and still maintain competitive pricing in the market? Your thoughts on that, please.
Well, this the supply chain cost usually is one of the value chain and building blocks of the cost. But what actually need to be considered is that many of the new entry in the market, when it comes to especially for the organic and halal, when they enter the market, they build in all the promotion and advertising and costs and losses with the value chain. So the price is already inflated from the source. Now, what Paul was sharing about the organic salmon and the price and the difference, he's doing the same margin. However, the customers, they're keen to get the regular one because of the price. If you go to the value chain of the cost, you see that the price is already inflated from the source itself, because they look at this category that this is making money category. The source, the distributor, and the retailer. Once they start looking at the benefit of the organic product and halal product, the benefit of it, rather than the profit, and they maintain the same profitability and the same margin that they're doing on the regular product, right? Then we see a lot of obstacles being moved. So it's not the value, it's not the supply chain, the value chain, only the problem. The problem is the inflated cost from the source.
All right, okay. Thomas, I think the next question is for you, and that is, what is the perception of halal in the non-Muslim community? What are they thinking of it, and what is the general attitude or the perception towards halal as a concept?
Thank you for sharing the question. As I said, halal is becoming also relevant for non-Muslim people. So in the non-Muslim majority countries or for the non-Muslim consumers, halal is not longer only a religious concept. It's also that means, healthy, quality. So it's becoming interesting. It's becoming relevant for the non-Muslim consumers. As I said during my presentation, we saw in Europe people, for example, from the bio-healthy segment, even when they are not Muslim, demanding consuming halal products because they think they are healthy, they are in terms of quality even better. So there is, let's say, a new trend making this market in the non-Muslim space also, relevant. So the perception is good before, and that was the problem. It was, only related to the halal slaughtering process. So, for example, in Europe, in Canada, or US, or Australia, New Zealand, the halal slaughtering was, let's say, colluding with the animal welfare. So many people thinking that they were wrong, that halal is only meat, and is the way of, let's say, killing the animal, and they are not stunning the animals, and this is not good, But they are discovering that halal is going, further, and it's not only related to meat. And now in the meat space, you can also use stunning methodologies. So you are also, let's say, going through the animal welfare, requirements. So now I think, because as I said before, it was only, especially in Western countries, it was only meat. They were thinking this is only for meat, and now they were discovering that it's offering opportunities, or products in other sector, also inside or within the F&B, but thinking about quality, thinking about healthy, and so on.
Thank you, Thomas, for that. I think I completely agree with what you have to say there. I think some of what you said can be backed by the shift in demand and the consumer preference that we're looking at across different product categories. So thanks for sharing that, Thomas. Zainab, I think this one's for you, and we have someone from the audience who's asking, what are the key pointers while producing halal cosmetics, and what does one need to keep in mind before going ahead and producing them?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
The question is, what are the key things to keep in mind before producing halal cosmetics?
Yes, before producing halal cosmetics, well, first of all, you need to certify your product. So, for example, Halal and Beautiful has the World Halal Union. It makes the audit. So from the ingredients used to the manufacturing process and plant hygiene, for example, all ingredients are pure, free from pig fat, alcohol, animal-derived ingredients. For example, the World Halal Union makes this audit regularly and renews these certification every year to ensure that the products certified by this certifier meet the global halal standards. So before producing such products, you have a certifier who is independent and who certifies these products every year. So you can say, okay, I have a halal cosmetic product, it's halal certified and it is for the whole life. No, you have to renew it every year. So you have to be up to date and to meet the global halal standards.
All right, that was very comprehensive, Zainab. Thank you for that. I hope that answers the question. Thomas, there's a last question that I have for you, and it's to do with the pharma and the medicine sector under halal. The question is, what is the scope for halal medicines? Do we see a rise in demand, or is a majority of the share still with conventional pharma?
Thank you so much for sharing the question. Yeah, they are going in most of the cases through the traditional pharma products. Only in the Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, we already have standards making mandatory the halal certification for pharma as well as for cosmetics. By the way, in the GCC countries, we have standards, but we are not forcing the companies to get the halal certification yet. So you can export to the GCC countries cosmetics products without the halal certification today. In the future, let's see what happens, because we have the standards, and maybe soon we will be doing the same that Indonesia, Malaysia did a few years ago, making the halal certification also mandatory for pharma or cosmetics. Today, as you said, the Muslim countries, they are going through the traditional, in most of the cases, pharma, product. So in the future, maybe, I don't know, honestly, because for pharma, we don't have so many rules or standards. I met, by the way, pharma companies that already have the halal certification because they want to comply, they want to offer halal pharma products to the Muslim consumers. But as I said, for example, I'm thinking about the capsules, the gelatin ones. Many of them, they are made with pork gelatin. So you have to, change that or find another way to put your pharma product in the market. But today, as I said, the halal certification is not mandatory or compulsory for pharma or cosmetics. For example, here in the GCC or in the North Africa, in the region, it's not mandatory, only in the Southeast Asia. We have standards, we have rules, we have requirements. Now, it's based on the, let's say, will of the buyer. If he's looking for halal cosmetics or pharma products, he will be the one, requesting or demanding that to the producer. But the authorities, the officials, they were not, because it's not mandatory. But I think it's also a good niche for making money in the future. Maybe not now, because it's starting to, to let's say, grow, or it's at the beginning stage. But maybe in the future we will be having also here the same regulation that we have in the Southeast Asia.
All right, Thomas. I think I'd like to think and hope that a few producers of organic and natural, nutraceutical supplements and probiotics can help address that need for the market, and I'm sure they will. All right, Paul, I have one last question here. That's for you, and the question is: what is the first step to exporting halal meat to the hotel and the restaurants in the Middle East? What are your thoughts on that? How can one work with people like yourselves in the HoReCa industry?
Well, the main thing we look for in the HoReCa industry in terms of suppliers is to build a good partnership. It's very important to be able to depend on each other and kind of work together to support each other. So for me, when we think about new menu items, we consider obviously first our existing suppliers. We do get approached by other suppliers trying to supply us with a variety of different products, and organic products are one of those. I think the first step is to building a relationship with the chef, the key decision maker, or the restaurant manager, to kind of start building that trust and partnership. It's not all about just introducing a product to get it on their menu for their customers to enjoy. Consistency in supply chain is important as well. In this part of the world, sometimes there are disruptions. However, as a business owner, we prefer to go with suppliers that have a consistent supply chain, and whether that's organic or not products. And if they experience issues, that they come up with solutions to give us alternatives for those products, so that we can continue providing our customers with the same delicious menu items.
Thank you, Paul, for that. I think we are almost at the end, and we're pretty much running out of time. But if any of you have any closing remarks or closing thoughts, I'd like to take that before we end the session here.
Thank you, Suraj.
Thank you, Paul. All right, okay. Panelists, thank you so much for joining us this morning for this very, very interesting, insightful session on halal and organic and natural. I'm sure the audience has had a lot to learn from what all of you have shared this morning, including Ms. Zainab's presentation as well. Thank you, Zainab, for joining us once again. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of organic and natural products in some of the halal markets very soon, hopefully in the coming few months and in the coming few years. But in the meanwhile, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to thank the audience for tuning in and getting and sharing with all of us your questions and your thoughts and your comments. It's been a wonderful session, and it's been a pleasure to bring all of this to you. I look forward to meeting you in some of our future digital initiatives as well. But for now, all of you, please have a nice day, and I look forward to meeting you all, hopefully in December at the show in Dubai. Thank you once again to all the panelists for joining in.
Thank you, Suraj. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tommy. Thanks. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.